welcome to the Purple Rock Podcast. I'm your host, Andy. Joining me for this summer series again is Emma. And Emma, tomorrow we make our apologies, tonight we make our podcast. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Literally, that's what she does. I'm trying to take my water here. Talk, say things.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't see that you're trying to drink your water. Yeah, we're here. We are supporting. I'm not sure whether this is because the All-Star game just happened or it's because of all the baseball references last week, but we are supporting our team, some of them extremely successful, some of them defunct.
Yes, well, it was just a firestorm of baseball appreciation, and we thought we would join in. And yes, it's the All-Star break, which means it's the worst time of year for sports fans.
Terrible.
So why not stay up late and watch people talk about Survivor and baseball shirts? Makes sense to me.
It's the same.
All right, and also to make this amazing transition, you know what they have in baseball, Emily?
What do they have in baseball, Andrew?
They have coaches. So let's start the episode by talking about Coach, because that's how these two episodes that we're covering tonight started. We got back from the Tribal Council where the villains finally went and got rid of Randy, and Coach didn't like his reception at Tribal Council. He didn't like that people were calling him on himself. And he had a bit of a cry.
Yeah, Coach got sad.
Yeah, so question, how close did you actually come to feeling sympathy for Coach in those moments?
Well, this time, I knew it was coming and knew the hilarity that ensued. And the last time I watched this, I still purely hated Coach from Tocantins. So I'm going to go ahead and say I didn't come very close.
See, for me, it's like he a few times in the scene with Tyson, he came dangerously close to being like a human being and dropping his shtick, and then letting us have a glance behind the curtain, and then always kept pulling, no. So you could see what was going on, and I find that interesting. But then he still has to be like, well, nobody does this more than me. I'm the only one out here that can do blah 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 blah. And it's like even while he's having this little meltdown, he still has to, stay in character. And it's really too bad, I think, because I think there were moments there when you really saw is that this is a guy who saw his edit on Tocantins and where he was more or less made out to be the fool. And he could see it happening again. I think that's where this all came from.
Villains tribe, which he did not like.
No, he's the most honorable ever.
All of it. Yeah, I would say the closest he came is well, he's right in that he's very sensitive and hides behind machismo. Both of those are true.
Yeah, but then he does it while he's doing this.
Yeah,
while he's unloading on Tyson, he still has to, make himself grandiose. And it's just like, you were so close. And honestly, I remember him being more genuine in those moments or vulnerable, and then watching it again, it's like, yeah, it's only in subtext. It's like it's there, and I see what's going on. Is that everything he thought he was coming back to Survivor to disprove that he's not a joke, that he really is the great man that he says he is frequently, was already come undone, and nobody was believing him. Sandra called him out on that. Nobody stuck up for him because it was true, and people don't stick up for you in Tribal Council that often. And it was all come crumbling down, and his veneer was almost going to go with it, and that's where the tears were. But no, he had to keep fighting back, and it's just like, sorry, Coach, this is who you are, and if you want, we can give you some tips for why you should stop being this way.
Oh, and boy do they give tips, and by they, of course, we mean Tyson, who just clearly has had this prepared since Tocantins, because he just lays it out. It's just
it's like, I could tell you a few things, but you won't want to hear it, and the coach is kind of like, what things? And then bam. Yeah.
Don't worry about this. Don't tell your stories. People don't like your story. They don't believe your story.
If you're going to do Tai Chi, going off to the side. And it was
alone. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I think that continues why All-Star Coach is probably the best coach, because it is the coach that's continually taken down a peg. Even here, even in his assistant coach is going to coach him up. Still being like, dude, you're lame and everyone knows it. Stop being that way, because I think Tyson probably genuinely likes him.
Right.
And it turns out, actually, the more human moment in that exchange was from Tyson.
It's a glimpse of what we'd see him become in Blood versus Water.
Yeah, and I think probably closer to who he is, right? Like, it seems like a lot of people like Tyson in real life. It's just, he's also the smartass, and that's the role he loves playing when cameras are on him. But, I think he still connects with people, and that's probably why he was the linchpin of this, tribe, or at least the alliance within the tribe. So, it's a great scene. You get a glimpse of who Coach really is without ever having to really feel sorry for him or connect with him on a human level, which is good, because I'm not interested in that very much. Mm-hmm. And then, you get him taken down again. And then it even continues a bit the next day where Tyson tells everybody, because that's the other thing. Yeah. As close as Tyson is with Coach, he has no problem putting this whole...
Coach is going to leave. He cried. He's thinking about quitting.
Yeah, he totally sold him out, and no problem putting Coach's private moment on Front Street there. And then we even get Boston Rob with a good one-liner. It's like, talking about quitting. Doesn't seem very Coach-like to me.
Yeah. Terribly sorry. I need to take a quick adjustment because this laptop is far too warm in this weather right now to be literally on my lap. So.
You mean I have to fill airtime talking without letting somebody else talk? I don't know how to do that, but I will try.
We're done. It's already over.
Ooh, that was close.
Yeah.
So that was, to kick off this set of episodes, a little interpersonal scene, and I think that's actually the more interesting thing about these two episodes, more so than the result, which was, there was actually one shocking result, one fairly predictable, but in terms of the overall story, I'm not sure how much they have to play, and we'll talk about that. But I felt more was interesting for the long-term game was we get introduced to the idols in these episodes. Yes. And the two tribes take two very different approaches on how to handle the idols.
And they're not only very different approaches, they are the opposite of what you'd expect for each tribe, which is funny because it just sort of keeps going to show us the villains being the fun tribe and the heroes being all bickery and stuff. And so you have the villains, so you have Russell, who is the one who should have known better, notices a little piece of paper in their reward and it falls out and Rob reads it, and so they all know about the clue, and it's a total, I guess they all watched Gabon. It's just what do we do with it? Throw it in the ocean.
Yeah, get rid of it. Nobody wants it.
Whoever has it is marked. Sandra has an amazing where she says, it's not fair if one person has a hidden immunity idol. And I love Sandra, but come on. Okay, sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it was Sandra pushing for it, and then Rob backing her up and all that. And in that instance, it shows how the old schoolers probably don't get it enough about how powerful this thing is. But I think it was also interesting that Sandra's the one who proposed this. She's the first person to say it, according to the edit. And I think that runs counter to the narrative that a lot of people have built for Sandra, that she's, this person who coasts, that she's always just lets other people take control and just stays back. I think that, and we're going to talk about this the whole season whenever it comes up, I think that's a totally misread on Sandra. And I do think some of it is because one of the worst observers of what Sandra is good at as Survivor is Sandra. She just always likes to stick to her quick lines of, as long as it is hot meat. But I think this is an instance that shows she doesn't just sit back and let things happen. She makes things happen. She's a mouthy person. It's just it doesn't seem like she's pushing it. And this whole thing of, whoever goes after the idol is marked for death, that was Sandra's idea.
Yes. And I did enjoy Rob sending Sandra as the spy on Russell too. It's just and that's of course where we get the immortal line, he's a stupid ass.
Yeah, and I don't think that was an accident. I don't think it was just because Sandra was nearby and, their hands were busy.
Right.
I think it was a recognition of one of the things Sandra is good at. This one she has pointed out, but I don't know if enough people have picked up on it. she's constantly listening in on people. She's an information broker. She's not a floater, and I think that's just a total disservice to people that think that. And I understand why they think that. It's a subtle edit, and again, she often just sells herself short because I don't think she thinks deeply about Survivor. I think she watches it, she plays really well at it, but a lot of people don't know in life why they're good at the things they are good at because it's just natural innate ability. But she is always knowing what's going on. And I think that's why they probably recognize that about Sandra. So I was like, you go find him. And that was a great scene because they're just looking at in each other's direction because she's crouched down looking where Russell is and he's kind of looking where she is. And that could almost be a whole metaphor of their interplay the entire season.
So should we move on to how the heroes discovered the idol or dealt with the idol?
Yeah, so the villains decide that their idols are not fair play, and we're just going to be a harmonious tribe and not even worry about that nonsense. And the heroes decide, no, we're all going to go for it. We're going to go for it now, and I'll push you out of my way to find it if I need to.
Yeah. Also, somewhat amusingly, is that both tribes found it as a tribe. Like both tribes discovered the clue, in a way that it was unavoidable for everyone else to hear it.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, I think, for the producers. I'm sure they
were like, that was a good idea. We did good.
Yeah. And I almost wonder if Russell fumbled with it because he's just not used to clues to idols.
Right, he's just kind of looked for them.
Yeah, like what? You tell us where they are? And it's also, how great is it when he finally does find it, where there's this 2-foot trench all around? Like, hey, not so easy when they don't just jump right out at you, huh, Russell? But, he found it anyway. But, yeah, I do think that...
he's like, I was looking, it was right there. I've been digging in this hole for, 3 days. It's like,
yeah, and, I just ran up to a spot and grabbed it while people were chasing me. And maybe that's a learning they had because, Samoa was immediately before this.
Right.
But, yeah, I just do think it's interesting. And I will say, I'm not faulting the heroes for that, especially because the person who found it desperately needed it, and the rest of them needed him not to find it.
Right.
I think it's probably the more honest approach in some ways. Yeah, we want idols. And it's just kind of because I think the people in power there have played season with idols.
Right.
The only one that really hadn't was Rupert. But Rupert is a deep thinker, a survivor. We know he watches intently because we've seen his tweets. Whereas, the power structure of the villains didn't really know, and now I will let you talk.
Also, I think it's not just crap. Well, now I forgot what I was going to say. So I'll try to just wing it. But there's how Tom, knew he needed it, but was less familiar with it. Maybe was less adept at being sneaky. Whereas Amanda, knows how to what kind of behavior to look after.
That's right. Nobody knows how to hide owning an idol better than Amanda Kimmel. I think we can say that.
That's true. Also, I remembered what I actually wanted to say, which was that I wonder if it would have been different. See, because the heroes had voted twice and the villains had voted once. And both of the tribes, their first vote was really kind of just like a gimme. They just wanted it.
Let's get rid of the people from Gabon, which, obviously.
Right. Why not? It's a terrible cast. And whereas the heroes, the line had actually been drawn. They had alliances. So, as you said, Tom, Colby, they knew they needed it. The others knew they needed him to not have it. Whereas the heroes, they sort of nebulously know they don't really dig Russell and that Parvati's a threat. But, otherwise it's very, it's still very loose.
Yeah, and even with the Russell thing, it's a back of the mind itching type thing. This dude,
right?
Cool, because I think anybody who's spent time with Russell Hantz gets to that point. Probably not too long.
Ugh, why are the hair standing on my arm?
Yeah, but he didn't become a target for them until he did his Russell thing, which at the time when I was watching, I was all with Sandra and Rob about, what a stupid ass, and it's gonna finally get hoisted by his petard for this action. But no, he was absolutely right, and having it was so much more powerful than not having it, and he taught Rob that lesson.
Yeah.
But what you were saying about the divided tribes and how the heroes made it clear. That, of course, is a lesson of why maybe you shouldn't make it so obvious who's on the ins and who's on the outs that early in the tribal phase. Which makes me... so that's one of, I would say, their faults. What would you say the Heroes Tribe's biggest fault is?
There's just so many to choose from.
Yeah, and I bring this up because obviously these are 2 episodes that they've lost, which makes 4 of 5. Not a good streak.
Maybe, is it just, that sort of nebulous team chemistry, like lack of communication, because you have that in the challenges, probably how they're failing. The fact that none of them are good at puzzles, apparently, is a flaw. And then the communication again, like in keeping it as a tribe and feeling like it's actually a unit and not such clear-cut alliances.
Which, is really odd for a group of people called heroes. That they just completely went to cliques and just started, this is our side, you're that side. And maybe part of it is because that's the only way, heroes know how to play is, the people with me are honorable and the people with me are problems. But, I mean... And
you stick with the people with you because that's the only honorable way to play.
That's right. Whereas on the Villains Tribe, they actually aren't doing that, I think they all made it clear that they don't trust Parvati, but even there, they didn't vote her out.
Yeah. And they they'll still talk to her,
Yeah, they'll still joke around with her because, ultimately, I think she and Courtney and Sandra have really good chemistry. They will be people that can hang out with each other.
Because again, they just have probably really good chemistry. Well, Parvati has chemistry with everyone, as we know, and Russell clearly does not.
And before I want to get back to what I think the Heroes Tribe's biggest problem is, but kind of move to the next thing because I've already kind of put us there. You see it in this episode that the villains, I want to underline, we call them villains. Yeah. They're the ones doing the team building exercises at camp, right? We see the scene where everybody but Russell, which is another great showing of how. These may be villains, but Russell Hantz is a different beast altogether. They're all doing the Coach Chi, which you have to know that everybody but Coach thinks this is ridiculous. Yeah. Sure, some of them might be like, "Hey, I could stretch." Not that Coach necessarily has.
We know that Parvati at that point still was very into yoga, and it's she's like, "Yeah, this is similar enough to a warrior too."
Yeah, fine. Is his warrior chi or whatever he's calling it. And I'm sure, if you're probably really doing yoga, you're probably like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. But they recognize that just being in the group is a good thing, forming team bonds, especially because a lot of them still feel like Coach is a necessary member of their alliance. But, do you think, Rob does a lot of Tai Chi? Do you think Sandra does? No.
God, I hope so. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, together. But they know that team building activities are important, and you see it carry forward to their continued challenge dominance. The next time they lose a member is not because they lost.
And if I may, not only they also know that Coach was feeling very sensitive and very vulnerable. So this is sort of they're indulging him, and even though they're indulging him, those who think it's stupid are kind of bonding with each other because you see Courtney and Sandra making faces. You see Parvati sort of laughing, and stuff like that. They can still, they're still sort of, and that's bonding too. As bad as it sounds, and although we see it on Survivor all the time, making fun of someone can be a bonding experience.
It is how this podcast came together. No, exactly. And it's just, I think that's just striking that, and some of it's all results based, right? Teams that win tend to bond more together. Teams that lose that don't. It's like how sports writers always like to, make all those comments they've got team chemistry. It's when you win, you often have better team chemistry than when you're constantly losing. But it is just, I think, a good interest. Now, so that makes me think that maybe that's the hero's biggest problem, but maybe it really is just as simple as none of them know how to do a freaking puzzle, and maybe that's all it is. And I'd love to make it about more things, because the other thing I think we can underline and highlight here is they have basically 2 people that have any real mind for strategy on their entire tribe, and they faced off against one another. So I think it was really a problem of leadership. When James and Amanda and JT are your move makers and your strategic leaders, maybe you're kind of doomed to begin with. At the same time, maybe it's just because they can't do puzzles. And when you lose, all that other stuff starts to happen, and you're not very happy with each other, and you have to come up with plans because you're going to tribal council, and even if they're good or bad, and it's just because none of them know how. And maybe it's not even that none of them know how, although I think none of them know how. None of them know how to do as well as Boston Rob. Maybe that's just it. But yeah, no. I prefer to make it a personal flaw about them and the fact that like who's the brain trust in that tribe and why? Why would you ever be like, yes, let's get together, me, James Rupert, and figure this whole thing out?
Yeah, that was a choice.
And a further contrast, so the villains are the tribe that, they're bonding together, doing the Coach G. When they get to the reward challenge, they're cracking jokes with Probst, having some fun, diving into the chocolate, and then we get the hilarious reaction of the heroes.
Oh god, it's just, I mean, I get it with Colby because he's probably still scarred about chocolate from the Jerry incident.
He ain't no Hershey bar.
He ain't no Hershey bar, and he ain't about to eat no Hershey bar. But and then I think it's like, I don't know why the others let the outsider of their tribe, guilt them into not having, a bite of chocolate.
Because you, Colby Donaldson, are not going to out-macho me. If you think it's, not honorable or any way to do this, and of course it's not. And we are all going to stone-faced, intimidate the villains about our choice to not eat chocolate, which is the only reason why we're doing this challenge in the first place.
Yeah, if I were Amanda or Serena to just I'll take it.
I'll have two.
Yeah, I'll have theirs.
And I just love the entire idea that are in their little hero brains that this is going to intimidate the villains. That Boston Rob and Courtney are just going to be shook to their core.
Oh my god, they didn't even eat their chocolate.
Yeah, this stunning display of bravery and stuff. They're so silly. It's just great.
They didn't want their chocolate. They must be really motivated to win that chocolate.
Yeah, Tyson, I'm sure, was just shaking in his boots. We got enough cracks as it was. Hey, we'll take theirs. And they were probably snickering at this whole display, but I hope there was, interviews where they were all just can you get a load of those idiots? And they didn't even get any anyway. We just kept eating the chocolate.
Yeah.
So, I think that's just another great, showing of, your heroes are one way and the villains are so much more fun. Leads into a question I have is, who do you think has gotten the biggest hero edit so far of the season? And before you answer that, I should clarify that, of course, we all know who the real heroes are. The troops.
I don't think you're allowed to say that as a Canadian.
But we have heroic troops, too. They wear beanies and stuff.
All troops matter.
Yes, I think that's the newest line in our theme song. Our national anthem.
The Canadian theme song.
Sure. I think the Canadian theme song is the soundtrack to The Littlest Hobo. Two people listening got that joke, and they are loving it.
Only real countries get an anthem. Anyway, what were we even actually saying?
Biggest hero edit.
Biggest hero edit. I would go top of, first thing that comes to mind is Boston Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I might have just put this question in here so I could.
Because you wanted to hear it. You wanted to hear me.
I think it's without question. I mean, some of it's just the ridiculous, Jeff Probst, fawning over Boston Rob that makes all of the iconoclasts of the internet think they're the first person to try and insult Boston Rob. That one was for you, Gewis. Enjoy it. But yeah, I think it's undoubtedly, and at the time you're watching it, and it's well, is he going to win? Because everybody seems to be looking for it, and honestly, I'm not even sure if it was these two episodes as much, but he got the fainting spell on the heroic comeback.
And I did not get it. I didn't mention this last time, but can I just very quickly say how hilarious it is during the fainting spell that they have the camera act as Boston Rob, and it's oh no, I'm walking through the woods. Uh-oh, I'm falling.
It's really his POV.
Why? Why did that happen?
Yeah, every once in a while the show, I think, tries to do some arty things, like,
I guess, I mean, they
Breaking
just
Bad.
had the season before they'd done Shambo's dream sequence, so
They're feeling themselves.
we
So
got a
knows.
couple kids straight out of film school, they're testing stuff out.
But yeah, it's
Anyway.
like he always gets the big win in the challenges, and I think a lot of that's because he's the best puzzler out there.
They
And some of
keep
it
having
also is just positioning. Like, he makes sure he's on top of that puzzle for the big shot at the end or whatever. But yeah, I think it's just interesting that, in this season of Heroes versus Villains, I don't think you could even consider a single hero for the hero edit. The ones that seem to be more sympathetic are the ones that are losing, like in Tom and Colby. And I don't know how sympathetic Colby truly is. Tom, I think a little bit, but maybe that's my own bias. But, you don't get a big hero edit when you were losing from the beginning. Maybe an underdog.
Right.
Certainly not James or Rupert or
Not
Amanda.
JT.
Yeah, not JT. And it's just like,
He's getting like a big edit, but it's not a hero edit.
yeah. Whereas I do think they're like really invested in making Rob look like heroic. He's the one, we'd be, doomed without Rob. He's the one building our shelter. He's winning challenges. And I just bring that up now, not to just slyly, hey, Rob, I love him, but because of what's coming. And I think the reason why they do that is maybe from what we were talking about. The Heroes Tribe, not all that much fun and not all that heroic. Villains Tribe, so much fun, bonding, all of that.
Multitude of personalities.
Yeah. And that's about to change. And, the show was losing their heroes versus villains, dichotomy that they were so sure would build fun storylines. But they get another one when they just have to create a hero within that villains and set up the biggest villain. So, I think, part of it obviously is just probably the love of Jeff Probst and CBS, frankly, for, Rob Mariano. And some of it, I think, is because they spend a lot of time in the Rob versus Russell storyline to begin, but I think that's to build up Russell. And right. Russell will take down a hero, and if he doesn't have another tribe of heroes in order to do that, then they'll create one in the villains tribe. Speaking of villains, I think another fun thing that happened this episode was we get to see the beginning of Parvati's manipulation of Russell. How much did you love the scene where she will not take any of Russell's garbage?
I mean, obviously, it's good, and it's like that just also shows that it's like Russell, like as much as he said, like in the beginning, because he's like the new guy, it's like, oh wow, it's like I'm like starstruck by these people. Like we know you were there for Pirate Master Russell. We know the truth, and then the fact that like he's just playing, he goes to the pretty girls again. He's like, oh yeah, you can ride my coattails. He says to Parvati Shallow. It's like, cool, you did not watch Micronesia, did you, buddy? I do wonder, though, I guess that's not ultimately Parvati's mistake, but, if it's really, honestly, a good idea strategically as much as it is, satisfying to let Russell know that you have a mind of your own.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think it does it's a push-pull throughout the season, because I do think it is important that Russell doesn't ever get to treat Parvati too much like one of his, dumb girls alliance.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the terminology he gave it, but the only one I'm comfortable saying. I hate that guy.
We know.
But at the same time, there will come a time down the line where, stepping on his oh-so-fragile male ego will hurt Parvati.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because God, is it satisfying in the moment.
Yes, it is. And I think
we'll get there.
I think it works because if anybody's able to, work, the complicated demon mind of Russell, it's Parvati. And I love it that even in a scene where he is giving her one ticket to salvation, because he's not really on the outs, or at least he doesn't know for sure that he's on the outs, because he doesn't know that everybody knows he has the idol. Right. And he's like, hey, we're going to be okay, and I got this idol. And even there, and she's very grateful, and this is awesome and all that, but she's still going to remind him that she don't ride nobody's coattails. And that's why Parvati is awesome.
Indeed. Indeed she is.
And I should also point out that it's also they were the only two people there. The rest of the villains are together bonding. And obviously some of that is alliance stuff. But the reason why that big alliance is a group is because they just get along.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it worked out, and obviously he had to tell, like, she needed the moment for Russell to tell her anyway. But I was kind of like, Parv, is it really such a great idea to be hanging out with him alone right now? Like, maybe she's just really wanted more chocolate. But I was like,
Sure.
that watering hole looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Maybe you should go. Maybe you should
Yeah,
go
be
check
there.
that out.
Hell, maybe
Maybe do
you should
that.
be throwing him under the bus. But
Yeah.
it worked
And I'd
out
be
better
like,
for
yeah,
her.
I can't believe he's looking for that idol. You know, I found an idol in Micronesia and I left it there.
That's right. I don't know why everybody thinks I'm the bad guy. This guy is real shifty. And also, like, should Danielle even be here? Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was Danielle, actually? Because I don't think she was in the pool with them, was she?
Maybe she had a little too much chocolate. She needed to go off by
That's
herself.
right. They probably all did a bunch of that. All right, so that's all I think the background stuff, not the gameplay stuff. And I will say this season, this rewatch is actually kind of difficult for us because so much of what we are used to doing is speculative, and it's it's like, hey, do you think this move was a bad idea? Will pay off? We'll speculate in a different way. We'll try to do counter histories, and should they have done this a different way? And to start, we'll talk about the first person to go home in these two episodes. Did Suri screw up, or was it just a case that she took a bad beat?
It's tricky because I think if she hadn't, I think the main read, I guess the main mistake would be not reading, like they know JT is shifty, and I think it's the decision to trust JT because they know JT wants Candace out because A, he obviously was pushing it this time, but B, had been mentioned it last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as much as some of it is just like, he flipped, what can you do? They got her with the like play, and there's the idol and the flip, like it took, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, like I think if she had a little bit more of a Sandra anyone but me thing, like is Candace that important to your group, Like there's still only two of Colby and Tom. You maybe get JT more on your side because he really wants Candace out for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but JT for 2 weeks in a row has been really like anti-Candace.
Mm-hmm.
And if she hadn't convinced Amanda to go against the Candace plan as JT watches ominously on a bluff, then that probably would have been what happened.
Yeah,
and she'd be fine.
And I agree. I think like she wouldn't have gone home if she didn't do what she did. So in that sense, she needs to share some of the blame. I understand why she wouldn't want to lose Candace because she feels like Candace is her only ally.
Right.
But I would also say, as you were saying, if the game is pulling against her, I don't know if you have the strength to keep her there. So yeah, you toss that ally aside and make better ones.
And there is also the if Candace is your only ally.
Yeah, you might already be in trouble. Because,
what have you been doing,
Yeah, why are you signing on to be, 4-5 then, if that's the case? Is that the math? No. Actually, 5-6. And, yeah, I think she also...
Why not with Tom?
Yeah, Tom Colby, and see where you can, get the other action. The other thing is I just don't think she had a relationship with JT. And some of that, clearly could be on JT, but it didn't cost him. So I think you have to worry about what's on her. And if she had a relationship with JT, she wouldn't have been trying to have a conversation without him. And so it's a bit of a mix because I do think the episode still showed the strength of Suri because she did get everybody to switch. They were like, yeah, sure, Candace, definitely Candace. We're doing it, Candace. I don't trust her either.
Hello, that's dumb. They're like, oh, you're right. Sorry, Suri. We'll never let it happen again.
Yeah, very simply. And it showed... I think what I was getting at earlier, that a flaw at the Heroes Camp is, I think they had two people that could have, led them in, strategic thinking and that sort of thing. And that was Suri and that was Tom. And they decided, no, we're good. Our brain trust is going to be James, Rupert, Amanda, JT. Even though, we have no reason to trust JT. Everybody picked up on the fact that he's kind of shifty. But they're still like, well, what are we going to do? That's our plan.
Yeah. Maybe they figure, let Amanda be the brains behind the operation because they know even if she plays the best game and get to the end, whoever she takes with her will still win.
Possibly, but I think it's more just like, her and James knew each other. I think maybe they made a deal with Rupert. And it's just like, that's the other thing. Like, if you're Cherie, if you're not in that James Amanda thing, which she kept insisting she wasn't, because Amanda did her wrong, and I guess the evidence seems to suggest on some level that she wasn't their primary alliance, because she seemed to be the one brought in for the second conversations about strategy, not the first. Mm-hmm. Now, she was able to win them over, and I don't think they were ever against Cherie. Like, they never voted for her, right. But I don't think she was in the main alliance. Why wasn't she worried about the Amanda James closeness? Why wasn't she looking earlier in the season to team up against it? And I think part of it is because she's probably a level of comfort in the ways that she can control Amanda, which, touche. I mean, she did it this episode. But I do think that, like, she should have maybe been looking for better alliances. And maybe they just weren't there for her. Or maybe everybody was treating Suri like a number, which is, not the way Suri really wants to play. Or should she? Because she's awesome. But I do think, if she just would have kept her mouth shut, Candace goes home, and then probably Tom goes home the next one. The idol's burned, and Suri's still around. And probably for a long time. Probably not to win, though. Maybe she's like, I want control now, because I'm tired of coming in, third, fourth. So I think that's kind of where it is, Suri. I think we got to see in this episode why she's awesome and her strengths as a player. She can think things through. But, I think she had some long odds with the idol, and I do think she did a few things to put herself in that position. So that's on her, but we should talk about the person that did take her out, because I think it was a really strong play by Tom.
Yeah, I mean, way to find the idol, first of all. Abel's work there. Good job. Maybe don't let Amanda know you have it, but,
What are you going to do? She's right there. It's right there.
Hard. Don't go for the sock. Go for the crotch.
Yeah, it's all right. And then nobody will suspect the bulge. But he hasn't seen that advice. The other thing is, you don't just slink off right away.
Yeah, that also.
So many people have done that.
He came, it seemed like he was so close where it seemed like he was, I'm still looking. But then, he, like 10 seconds was not enough time, buddy.
No. And you can leave that spot, but then, let them see you looking at a secondary location over here. Yeah.
Don't be the first person to leave that spot. Wait for other people to give up. Okay. But, and to go back to, to not be so, upset that JT voted for Stephanie, to just, consider that a bridge burned, and to work with it, contact him again, where he can do the, he's not Southern, but still close to the, good old boy thing. And, the winners that they were saying, if we go to the end.
Winners, man's a man. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, winner to winner, because if we're both in the end together, they got to vote for one of us. Thing.
Foreshadowing.
Yes. I don't know about that. But yeah, and it worked.
I think the biggest thing he did was bury the hatchet with JT, not let that door be open, and then he let JT pick the target. He didn't go back and was like, all right, now we're going to make our move against James or Amanda, like they were pushing for before, or even Candace. Once he saw those things were done and he could tell that JT was bothered, it's like, hey, well, you could do Suri. If you want Suri, it's going to be Suri. And here's the other thing. We don't need anybody more than us. Because I think so many people complicate that idea. So many people want, more security or a bigger alliance, a majority. Some podcasters even will totally destroy the fact that the plurality will win. It's like, no, everybody must know. Okay, maybe just the one podcaster. He's just like, us three right now. We can make this happen. Nothing else. This is the plan. And it seemed like JT, even though he was essential to the vote split on the other side, he needed Tom to explain it to him. He figured out, how the 3-3-2 would work.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, now let's just do this. Let's lock it in. Everything is good. We don't, and he didn't let JT worry too much about the future implications. And that brings us to the quote that gave us the episode title that, I so very cleverly opened the episode with, and brought up by one of our Twitter followers in a question to us, Don Smiley, at Freddy Physical. It's just, tomorrow we make our apologies, tonight we make our move. And I think that decisiveness was the exact way to play with JT, because it just got into some of those ephemeral bonding tools that they had. We are men, we don't worry. And I think he was just reassuring. And that gets us to Tribal Council. And I just want a quick note on that. It's like, how freaking smug were that other side when Tom plays his idol?
Very.
Yeah, just like they're like laughing, like ha ha ha. What's this idiot doing? Well, for one, like he's not going home, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I think they're all just like, yeah, we got this puzzled out, and and obviously it could just be editing, throwing in different reactions to them. But I choose to believe that they were being smug because it's more fun that way to see Rupert and James somehow get outsmarted.
And James, when an idol is involved.
Who knew? So yeah, great moves by Tom, and I think it was just a nice little reminder that Tom Westman's pretty good, and he's pretty cool.
I was surprised that they didn't show like that many reaction shots. Like once Cirie went home, like they kind of showed Amanda looking, but like there wasn't like a lot of like I am shocked that this is happening, and I'm like, but they should be. I want to see that.
You should be mad at JT or like trying to figure out the math of it.
Yeah.
Because how could a vote split ever fail?
Right. Never. Just ask Steven. That's why you got to just put all the votes on one person.
You got to always split the vote, except for the times when you really shouldn't do that, and you should just pick a target. This is also a little bit of foreshadowing. But yeah, I just think it was a nice little reminder this episode how he beat Cirie at her own game. It's just that Tom isn't just a guy who won a bunch of challenges, and I think that's as much as like Sandra's reputation is just that she floats along and votes the way people tell her. I think a lot of people just put Tom in that bucket, but no, he is a strategic thinker. He's maybe not the all-time strategist. He used his teammates to help him with strategy, but he understands and is willing to do to play the game to the point where he will. Slightly coax one of his competitors to eventually leave a buoy. So I think we saw that. I think the way he was able to work with JT again instead of just having her feelings hurt, because I don't think Colby was up for that necessarily. Although Colby was probably more okay with it from JT than he might have been from somebody else. Just decisive way, the way he was able to connect with him, and it worked out. And I do think. That if Tom and Cirie had teamed up, would this season have been like much better for them?
For that, you got it. I
guess it couldn't have been much worse, but
yeah, true. I guess like where it really would depend is if they're able to get enough allies, because like if they're like seen as an obvious pair, they become very, very much a big target.
Yeah, but so you get Cirie, Tom as kind of the ringleaders, and then you
still get Stephanie and Colby.
Colby. JT is going to float with whoever side is stronger. If
they really wanted to, they could have got Sugar, but not if they had JT and Colby. So.
Yeah, and it's fine. Yeah, whatever, Sugar.
Just let her go. It's fine.
But there's just three other people on the other side. Like I think Rupert, James, and Amanda were the solid block, and then other people were just like, okay, cool, I'll follow you. And it's just, and in this, we'll hear Jeff Probst way down the line talk about how, if only Russell and Rob had teamed together, they could have run this game. No, they never would have teamed together. You can't team with Russell Hantz. And, as much as Parvati says she doesn't ride coattails, Boston Rob truly doesn't because he's got a huge ego, not necessarily because he's great at this. He loses to people that he has partnerships with, but he won't let somebody else take the wheel. But yeah, I think like if Tom and Cirie had been the brain trust of the heroes, they might have done better. But maybe not. Maybe just because they can't do puzzles, it doesn't matter. But it's just it's interesting, and I just think that's maybe something to all the future survivors that are watching this show. Maybe don't always look at the person whose skills are complementary to yours as your main competitor. Maybe sometimes it's good to form alliances with people who aren't idiots. Yeah,
idiots, they're unpredictable.
Yeah, they do to the point. Yeah, so he's like, why are these people so stupid? And actually, it's the last thing on Tom. Well, I guess not the last thing because we have to talk about him leaving. When he's voting Suri out, I think he even recognizes and gives her a little bit of respect that, it had to be you because I can't let you manipulate all these weak minds in the tribe.
Yeah.
Again, like, he's observant. Like, he's one of the better winners. Just because he wins challenges, internet, doesn't mean he's stupid. Because so many in internet is like, we don't like challenges, so that doesn't mean anything. Only the people that give confessionals about how they're masterminds are the ones to win, even though...
And that concludes this week's Andy Yells at the Strawman.
Well, the episode isn't over yet. There's still time. So let's talk about Tom going home. Was that a mistake by JT to vote out Tom instead of, the completely hobbled James?
I mean, I don't think, I guess the question is, what Tom have said, hey, I don't know if writing that letter is such a good idea, but maybe put the pen down.
That's where I'm going with it, because ultimately they were going to vote somebody out again, and obviously they couldn't have known this, but
yeah.
They were going to have to vote somebody out because the next episode is a double elimination. Sorry for people that haven't watched it ever before. And then, things would go okay for them for a bit. But I do think that, so, like, James's weakness in challenges really didn't affect them too much. I mean, they do lose the next one.
Right,
it cost them another reward. But, if you voted out James now, maybe it just would have been Tom next anyway. But I kind of think getting back to that idea, it's like, I think Tom might have stopped you from that stupid-ass idea in a way that the people he was aligned with, all of whom kind of think, like, I don't know about this, JT, weren't strong enough necessarily to step forward. I think Amanda was like, but he has the idol. I better not say anything.
Rupert, on the other hand, I think was all for it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we'll cover that, I guess, when it gets there. But
JT votes Tom out because he wants to show that, like, that was just a move to get rid of Suri, and he hasn't betrayed that other alliance. But, like, betray that other alliance. They're idiots, and they're dooming your tribe. How about just, form a better alliance with Tom and Colby and Candace, and let's make this roll. But, no, I mean, for one, as you pointed out, for some reason he just doesn't like Candace.
Yeah.
Probably because she's so much smarter than he is, and he's threatened by it, perhaps. But that's,
or he just doesn't, I mean, I think JT watches the show, maybe he just doesn't trust her because he's like, why is she on the heroes tribe? She mutinied.
I wonder if there was a lot of that, too. It's like, you're not one of my honorable heroes.
Yeah.
I think that was starting to be a Rupert impression, then I just bailed on it. Because
I just want to make it clear that was clearly not me impersonating JT. That was
another one of your classic Southern impersonations. You do so well. What happened here is I think JT really wanted to be the big hero. He wanted to be the big leader. And so he was trying, I can be the leader with these people, not these people. But again, it's just maybe form strong alliances. Yeah, not necessarily with people you can't beat, but JT should feel confident that he can beat people unless he does something really stupid, which could happen.
I wonder. Yes.
So I do think Tom might have been a more level hand to help JT in the rough waters ahead. Certainly more so than James, who isn't very level-headed, and
you're telling me James doesn't understand what to do with idols.
James is like, when people give idols away, it can never fail.
Moment of silence for the fact that James brought his China idols as his luxury item, which is the greatest thing that has ever happened on the show. Say what you will about the heel turn of James, but that is amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing, when he's not being aggressive and competing, he's a funny dude. I think a lot of people don't remember that. It's he was, a laughing, joyful presence on juries. And that's a fantastic example. And when he got voted out, he was able to, call himself the stupidest player ever. So fantastic. I didn't notice that. Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't know that little bit of Survivor trivia.
I'm not a connoisseur of trivia.
Shocked and appalled.
Whose role is that? Who's the trivia person? Oh, let's still say it's Barbara Anderson. Anyway,
okay. Everything is Barbara Anderson.
But yeah, I think that's where it could have been, because otherwise I do think voting out Tom was a wash. But I do think maybe JT should have just, made a better alliance. So I'm not going to ask if, was it a bad idea for like Amanda or to vote out, not vote out James. Of course she shouldn't vote out James. Until he's taken out, you keep your ally. But I mean, I do like how everybody was just like totally poo-pooing Candace's, medical opinion.
Right. Yeah.
James ain't going to be right.
Literally in medical school, but yeah. Although, to be fair, we don't know her what she's specializing in. I'm sure they don't either. But I also, I did actually, speaking of James and the whole injury and all that, which first of all occurs in the same challenge where, Mike Barassi gets hurt, or I think that's the right guy, and Ben Browning gets kicked out or whatever, and in these two episodes, they do the Russell Swan challenge, which, I don't know why they're like, those two challenges that ended in disaster, let's use those again. That's a great edit. Why don't we go back to that Micronesia challenge, too, where everyone got it?
Let's put some jagged sticks out there, yeah.
Yeah, drag them along. Anyway, but...
Now, how long will it take Survivor to figure out that, having people compete in closed spaces with no, protection could be dangerous for them? Yeah. Like lacrosse players wear padding when they're in that little rinky area. It's our national sport, and I still don't really know anything about lacrosse. But yeah,
it's your national sport.
Summer sport.
I was like, excuse me. Hockey?
Yeah, there's a hockey thing, but yeah, lacrosse was actually named our national sport before hockey, and then they had to split between summer and hockey. Because we have
summer and hockey. That is the most. I know it was an accident, but that's the most Canadian.
I don't even know if it was an accident. It was an accident that I didn't mean to say it, but there's a part of me that knew what I was saying. And now, of course, people who plays lacrosse? Really rich guys named Chad.
That's true here too.
Yeah, no, anyway, but yeah, it's just that's just a bad idea. And it's almost like you have to be sympathetic for James. He just can't win, man.
And I do want to say that I actually do feel like we make fun of Amanda a lot, and because she cries a lot and she's bad at Tribal Council, but I actually really feel for her here because not only I think it's easy to forget James is obviously her closest ally, but they've always been on tribes together. Even they are probably legitimately close.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's only been a couple years that they've actually known each other or however long. I'm sure playing the game like that really does not always really bond you to people, and and she's seen him get pulled before. It's distressing.
Oh yeah, no, I have no problem with her reaction. I think
that said, her little run to him is the worst. And John must have died watching that because we know how John loves to criticize running form and just. It's not great, Amanda. It's not great.
I was waiting for her to jump into his arms, no.
Yeah. Well. Also, how they used him then in the next. Don't know what I'm doing, talking about challenges.
Well, you are the challenge specialist. You're the only person that has participated in Survivor as challenges.
Ish. I mean, that's a very loose interpretation. But yeah, I did Paley Center, and I did, well, god damn it. I was going to do better at the swearing this time.
Yeah, that one's fine. I'll say that in front of my kids. They go to Catholic school.
Yeah. Anyway, that again, they go straight into another dangerous challenge where everyone's blindfolded, and that so to keep James from walking, they stick him on the platform, and he actually does a decent job. But I was noting, I'm his voice is really too low for this.
Yeah, and by the end, he had
poor guy. He's so raspy. I felt, walk your ass, walk your ass.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, actually, not on James.
But they got there. I mean, they got there. Nope. It's just they can't do the freaking puzzle.
Nope.
Can't do it.
How about the nerve of James, though, saying that, him on one leg is better than, one of the all-time challenge beasts in Survivor history. He has no idea who Tom Westman is, does he?
No, he's just I don't know, he's old, so
Like, how could that guy ever help a team win? Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I was like, hey, James, remember how you kept saying how Stephanie lost every challenge? You know the real reason for that?
It's because the other team had Tom freaking Westman. Now, look, he is older.
And Ian.
Yeah, and Ian. But, he's not on this season. Because he's not a hero.
Yeah, he's a beauty, right?
That's right. We have on very good authority that he should be cast on a beauty tribe. And, seeing some of the guys that have been, I mean, Ian.
Look, I didn't know he hadn't aged well.
Ian.
I didn't know.
What are we even talking about? But but no, obviously that's James fighting for his continued place in the game. But and Tom is a little older, and it sounds like spending 13 hours on a buoy actually did some long-term damage to his feet and legs. But still, come on, James. I'll help us more than that guy. No, you won't. And
he did some solid yelling though.
Yeah, but it's like that's because we had to put you, the strongest survivor in history, on our collar. You did all right. I think we would have been better off if you weren't doing that. And the next time might not allow you to sit there and yell at people. They really might need you to walk. And the idea that
God forbid, run.
Yeah, through thoughts and prayers or rubbing the hands together that we're going to heal what is clearly a torn ACL in 3 days out on a beach, which I don't spend a lot of time on beaches, but I've heard that the footing isn't that secure.
It's much more difficult to run, yes.
Just say, I don't care. You're not an alliance that I am. We're voting you out. But to say, if you guys really think that guy is more valuable than just vote me out, they should have all been like, well, okay. I mean, James just asked us to vote him out.
I mean, maybe you meant, valuable, wink, 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 with his vote. It's actually, and similarly, I noticed in the previous tribal council where Suri goes home, James straight up says he's voting based on challenge strength. And it's we know you're not. There's no need to lie about that, James.
Yeah, that just shows the entire hero mindset that I'm just going to invent things so that it fits into my worldview of this is how I vote. This is Tom freaking Westman. He is one survivor, and you're trying to act like he's a loser. His tribe never lost. He himself won 4 or 5 immunities. Go to hell, James. Sorry, I guess I'm passionate about Tom. All right, so anything else from this episode? Or these 2 episodes?
Well, I mean, hate to bring up another challenge, but we didn't talk about the oiled up challenge.
There we go. That's James showing his value to the show. Oh my gosh.
I wish that my glasses weren't stuck by my headphones so I could do a proper, Elsa.
I think they should, and then I think the season missed an opportunity not having more challenges that pit James versus Sandra.
Oh, poor Sandra. Also, how disappointed was Jeff when Parvati sat that challenge out?
No, okay, never mind. And I gotta say, why were they making, these girls have to sit and guys, and then they still had guys facing women? And
what was the strategy there? And if you would like to take a minute to talk about Danielle, who's the only, well-endowed young woman on this season, you can. But, James, goddamn.
Well, I will say with Danielle is that, she played her role. If, you figure that she was put on there to be somebody who fills out a bikini, she certainly chose one that she filled out.
I honestly don't, not to get too into, I don't know how it stays on.
No, it's ridiculous.
And it's there was a lot of space there that shouldn't be involved in a bathing suit. I don't know how it stayed on.
I mean, obviously, as the season goes on, there develops room, but the skirt is just very cute. That's just a nice, classy touch.
Yeah, that's a surprisingly what's inside is not, but a surprisingly childlike bikini. With the
Yeah, with the polka dots. Yeah, maybe that's why I don't talk about too much. Is doing weird things.
and the little ruffly skirt, which like I guess she's like trying. I haven't noticed. We can ask John. Maybe she just doesn't have much of an ass, and so she's trying to like balance it. Because that's what I don't know. That's what you do if we have ruffles on top. It's to distract.
That's right. Yeah, well, I think she uses something else to distract. And way to out John as the ass man of the Purple Rock podcast.
She doesn't need to have ruffles on top.
She doesn't need to ruffle feathers.
God damn it! What have we done?
I know, we should have ended the podcast minutes ago.
I apologize to everyone.
But, yeah, she really had to mention James oiled up. That was something. And, for all the slack, the slack that Colby is going to take, I think he still looks good for a man his age.
Yeah, this is fine. He's probably, like, an easy, like, he might be, like, the, number 2 there. Like, there's not, like, a ton of, like, especially body, but like Tyson's too skinny. Sorry,
yeah, and his little man
talk. I know, but still. And the other, meh.
Yeah, but no, I do think that Poverty broke some hearts there.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all for this week. We were able to keep it shorter because we kept it to 2 episodes. 2 episodes that maybe weren't that earth-shattering for the rest of the season, but revealing the strength of the season. Still 2 great episodes. And just that why people are wondering, I didn't really choose to set these 2 episodes off. It's the next 2 that I really felt needed to be their own episode because it would be weird that we would be talking about the next episode with these 2 and then have to wait until the fallout. So next week, we're, again, 2 episodes, episodes 6 and 7.
Yes.
My math is correct there, right?
I believe so. It's a little confusing for if any of those of us who are watching along on Hulu because they include the, like, Surviving Survivor special.
Yeah, that's on the DVD box set, too.
But they list it as episode 1 on Hulu. And so I, like, every time I have to be like, look at the title and be like, yes, okay, I saw that one. I can do this one. And it's hard. It's a hard one.
I briefly considered, like, should we talk about Surviving Survivor? But then I was like, I don't want to watch it. So that's the thing. But if anybody wants to do a live blog, whatever thing on the Surviving Survivor special, feel free. Just tell us where you posted it because we don't want to. We make jokes. All right, so
we try.
So this is the podcast you've been watching on YouTube. Maybe you're listening to it on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. But there's other things you could do to follow the Purple Rock Podcast. You could visit our website at purplerockpodcast.com. You could visit us on Twitter. The show is Purple Rock Pod. I am Purple Rock Andy. You are
Purple Rock Emma.
We got a Tumblr, right? Maybe?
Yeah, I don't do much with it, but sometimes we reblog things.
Have you been posting these to it?
No. I haven't posted our post to it in a long time. I have reblogged stuff. I can check real quick on the last thing I've done. But yeah, there's not much. Like, I don't think a lot of our users are really on Tumblr. I know we have some, but I don't think there's a ton. If you are someone who follows us, you're probably better off following someone else in the Survivor Tumblr community. Although they post a lot.
That's right.
And there's a lot of Big Brother crap. Yes, the last one I posted they don't timestamp it, but was technically not Survivor related. And it said, people who enjoy coffee but can still function without it should be feared. People who don't like coffee at all and therefore don't even need to contemplate having some in order to function should be worshipped. So I pointed out that we are a weird, freakish anomaly, and 4/5 of the Purple Rock Podcast do not drink coffee because we are the worst possible cross-section of adults.
Yes. No, it's true, and it's the weirdest thing. And there's actually other things that 2/5 of us don't partake in that make us even weirder.
Really, there's a lot of weird coincidences between us.
That's right.
It's odd. That's all
You're my younger female doppelganger.
Mm-hmm.
Paler, Why are you so pale? All right, so tune in next week to see if I have even more of my Survivor beard going. This is what I would look like on episode 2 of Survivor, basically, right here. And no, I don't think I will. These things are itchy. I don't know why anybody would ever want to grow one.
I think it gets less itchy once you're like fully there.
Perhaps, but also it really betrays how freaking old I am with all of this.
It's gray.
Yeah. No. Wise and distinguished. Last thing, if you'd like to help the podcast, you like to shop at Amazon, you can go to www.purplerockpodcast.com/Amazon, and we will make pennies on the dollar for anything you purchase.
We just missed Prime Day.
Oh, yeah, but you know what? We want you paying full price.
And Prime Day sucks anyway.
There you go. I wouldn't know, because you think your deals are bad. Just imagine what the Canadian Prime Day was. It might not even have been a prime number. Oh, my God. That was the lamest joke. Mark loved it. All right.
Mark?
Anything else?
No.
All right. For everybody listening on the podcast, enjoy the theme music.
Bye.